Rachel. Only 15 months, 4 days apart, and blonde hair, everyone thought we were going to be best friends growing up. We are sisters. I'm the oldest sister. I'm random, outgoing, and willing to talk to anyone. Corey is the youngest. She is quiet and likes to read. We couldn't have been more polar opposites, but everywhere we went, we were always told we were going to be best friends. They were all wrong. Growing up, we argued about almost everything. It wasn't until the summer before she moved to Washington that we finally started to enjoy each other's company. Now I don't know where I would be without my sister as my best friend. It wasn't until my parents went on vacation for 1 week, leaving Corey and myself alone. It was then that we really started to open up to each other and bond over various things. Baking together or me watching Corey bake in reality was probably one of the first times I ever talked to her on a level of friendship. It was during this week that we opened up to each other about our personal lives and got a full understanding on why we didn't get along. It was very therapeutic for our relationship. Corey has grown to be my best friend because we have been willing to overcome our differences and appreciate one another fully for who we are. To put it lightly, Corey and I had a rocky childhood. I established my dominance as the older sister. Mom told the story of the playset incident many times. I was 3, Corey was 2. We had an indoor playset in our living room, small and square, a great place to play dolls or hide and go seek, because our parents could not see inside unless you came down the blue slide. Corey was playing with her dolls on the top of the slide, and I was casually sliding up and down it. All of a sudden, I disappeared for less than 30 seconds, and out of the blue, screams came from the inside of the red playset. Corey screaming. My dad yelled, "What happened in there?" My head popped out of the side with a mischievous grin. It was very casual and a matter-of-fact tone of voice. My answer was, "I bit her." It was no big deal, as if it was no big deal. Of course, my mom came out of nowhere, grabbed me, and put me in my room for biting. Until we were in 3rd grade, we shared a room, which didn't help the fact that we didn't get along in the first place. I would have never admitted this to Corey, but she was the reason I could fall asleep at night. The dark scared me, and so did loud noises, and somehow having Corey in the room just made me feel like everything was okay. Even though the majority of our young years we spent not getting along, she still made me feel safe. Our relationship slowly got worse through our middle and high school years. Corey and I did not get along very well in middle school or high school. Sharing clothes was the bulk of our fights these years. I didn't care if we shared clothes, but Corey was very protective of her clothes and didn't want to share. I would let her borrow whatever she wanted in hopes that she would do the same for me, but it always ended up in a screaming match. Sometimes I would just take her clothes and she would find out and throw a huge fit. We did not speak much through these years. Looking back, I wish we could have gotten along better, but neither of us really wanted to fix things at the time. Things were not always bad, but for the bulk of these years, we did not get along. The fights were long and emotionally draining for the whole family. The years got easier after we both graduated from high school. Corey and I began to value each other after high school, and I'm proud that we are friends. I went to Columbus State for my first year of college. Things pretty much stayed the same between me and Corey. It wasn't until the summer that she decided that she wanted to go to the University of Washington in Washington State that we started to get along. Baking was the big start of our friendship. I would casually walk into the room, sit on a chair, we would talk, laugh, and cry. And during these moments that we really started to get to know each other. I can honestly say that these memories we created after high school will always be with me. Slowly we started doing things together, like talking about important things, going on walks, and going to the movies, or even seeing if one another wanted to run to the grocery store just so we could spend time together. Watching her pack all of her things and move away was one of the hardest things to watch. I just kept telling myself that she is the one person that could move so far away and be so successful on her own. Since then, we Skype almost 3 times a week, talk every day, and tell each other everything. She comes home for the summer in 2 weeks, and I cannot wait to have her home for a little while. Just let me end by saying the young years were hard. I did bite her a lot, but she was the one that kept me safe from the dark. The middle and high school years were even harder because we didn't really talk, and when we did, it was usually yelling. But the later years, having the time to get to know my sister without my parents around, and then continuing to build our relationship even though she lived in another state, is a huge success in my book. realizing that even though the first 19 years were really hard on our relationship and we had a lot of repairing to do, I wouldn't have our friendship any other way. So in the end, everyone was right. She's my best friend and always will be, no matter how far away we are from each other. I am proud to call Corey my best friend.